Hey, good morning. It's Councillor Glen here. It's just started snowing. I guess you can't see where I am. I'm on Stittsville Main Street, and I'm here. I'm sitting on this bench here this morning. This is a new bench that was installed in the last few weeks between Browns and the entrance to Amberlakes, and it's part of the older adult program. Every year, the city installs about 10 or 12 benches funded through the older adult program, and it's about helping mobility for seniors. So we looked up and down Stittsville Main Street, and we suggested a number of locations where we had gaps and missing benches. Basically, benches provide if they're set out in regular intervals, they provide little break spots, so it makes it easier for older adults and really anyone in our community with mobility issues to get out and to walk around. So I'm sitting on the new bench this morning. It's a little cold, so I'm going to keep it quick. I wanted to talk about speeding to start things off. For whatever reason this week, we've had a lot of emails, inquiries from residents about speeding. Westridge, Maple Grove, Rose Hill, Hartsmere, Abbott Street, just to name a few. So it's probably worth reminding people to slow down when you're driving through our neighborhoods. Make a point of driving the speed limit. 40 kilometers an hour on Westridge, for example. I know if you're not paying attention, it's easy to speed up on a street like that. But take some time and just notice what speed you're doing and keep it below the limit. And take some care to actually stop at the stop signs. I've noticed that's something around here in Stittsville and in Ottawa. People tend to roll through those stop signs, and it does make a difference. Just take some time and take some care as you're going through the community, and please slow down. What I also wanted to mention was, if you see drivers who are speeding through your neighborhood, if you see stop signs being run, make a report to ottawapolice.ca. If you can get a license plate, all the better, but you don't need a license plate to make that report. You can go to ottawapolice.ca. They are out every day in our community, and they're doing enforcement. But what these police reports do is they help the police to target to the most needed locations and streets in our ward, and it does make a difference. So ottawapolice.ca, and you will see an online reporting tool, and you can report speeding. But overall, please slow down, and I bet you a lot of you do take care on the road. So thank you for setting a good example. Please continue to do that. A lot of, actually all of the new neighborhoods that are going through the approval process are being designed for 30 kilometers an hour in new residential streets. But we've still got a lot of older neighborhoods designed for 40 or even 50 kilometers an hour. That's too fast near parks, near schools, where people live. So take some time to slow down. It does make a big difference. On Tuesday night, we're doing our webinar for Stittsville Main Street. Earlier this month, late October, published a summary of all the public comments from our first round of consultation. So Stittsville Main Street revitalization is a huge priority for me and for a lot of people in our ward. So on Tuesday night, we're doing a webinar to walk you through the results of the consultation, as well as some recommended next steps. So you can find information about that on Facebook, on the events page of my Facebook page, and also on my website at glengower.ca/Stittsville Main. There's a public consultation going on right now for Maze Park. This is going to be a future park and a new Richcraft development between Maple Grove and Hazeldean, behind the Winners and HomeSense and everything. So we're looking for your feedback on some plans for a park in that new subdivision. And again, you can find information on my website. Happy to announce, alongside our MPP Goldie Gamari this week, that the province is doing a big funding, tens of millions of dollars, perhaps hundreds of millions of dollars, for long-term care construction and more long-term care beds in Ontario. And Stittsville is going to be receiving about $25 million of that to go towards an extended care facility proposed for Hazeldean Road near the Wellings. So that was good news there from the province. On Wednesday, I attended the Legion's Remembrance Day ceremony, very low-key. I guess it wasn't a private ceremony exactly, but very much scaled down, about a 15-minute ceremony. I think there were 6 wreaths laid in memory of all those who've served our country. So I want to thank the Legion for allowing me to be involved in that, and I hope everyone found a way virtually to celebrate Remembrance Day this week. More stuff happening. Monday, if you are interested in city planning and the official plan, there is a webinar that the city's hosting on neighborhood transect. So we're in the process of updating our official plan, and one of the concepts in it is what's called transects. And this is about treating different areas of the city differently. The needs of Stittsville are different from the needs of downtown, are different from the needs of rural areas. And so this transect concept is going to be written into the official plan to identify unique features of different parts of our city. So there's a webinar Monday night. I actually don't think I've shared the information on Facebook, so maybe I'll do that later today or tomorrow. And I hope you can attend that. They're interesting sessions, and you'll learn a little bit more about how the city plans for things. It has been a busy week. We had planning committee on Tuesday. One of the things there is we approved some bird safe guidelines for new construction. And we also approved a 30-story and a 27-story building for Bayshore. These are going to be apartments next to the transit station. This is a phase 2 project opening in a couple of years when LRT is going to come all the way out to Moody Drive. So really, real smart planning to be adding more housing close to these transit stations. It maximizes the investment we're making in transit. And so that'll go to council for final approval in a couple of weeks. Also, we had a big FedCo meeting on Thursday about 9:30 to 6:30 p.m., 8 hours, mostly to discuss Lansdowne Park and some financial changes that are necessary there because of the COVID situation. So a long discussion there. There's Built Heritage Subcommittee yesterday. There was a small Stittsville item where we added some homes to the Heritage Register that were actually supposed to be done 5 years ago. So a bit of an administrative oversight had to be corrected. So that was done yesterday. And then got an update yesterday. Next week we're going to publish the official plan, the draft text of the official plan. This is pretty important. It's maybe arcane planning for people who aren't super interested in City Hall and municipal affairs, but it's a pretty big deal. Probably the biggest project that I'll be involved in at City Hall over this term, updating the official plan. So that's coming up at the end of this week, and maybe I'll share some details next week on the update. This week we have Transit Commission coming up. So we're in the middle of budget season right now at City Hall. I think the most challenging budget to wrap our heads around is transit. We are seeing ridership down, which means fare levels are down. We are fairly confident we're going to see that pick up over 2021, but probably only about 70% of the usual levels. And so we have to decide, are we going to cut back services? Are we going to alter services? Right now, what staff have recommended is that we defer a lot of capital projects and save some money that way, but that we don't necessarily cut back on service. One of the reasons is that we can't quickly lay off staff. So it would actually take many months, almost a year, I believe, to actually recognize any savings. And in the meantime, there are still a lot of people using the bus. People who don't have an option to drive, and many of them essential workers, retail workers, part-time workers, healthcare professionals, and so on. So it's a really tough balancing act because we're not bringing in the revenue, but at the same time, transit is very much an essential service in our community. So that's Wednesday. It starts at 9:30 a.m. You can tune in on YouTube if you're interested, but I'm sure it'll be a long day, a long debate, and I've got a bit of work to do on my end to do some prep for that. I want to make sure we're making the right decisions, and I guess overall with COVID and the budget this year, we need to obviously pare down on our expenses because we're spending more because of COVID, and we're also bringing in less revenue for a number of reasons. But we're also looking towards recovery, and if we stop investing in the growth of our city, and our city is growing, we're going to be in a very difficult situation a year or two from now. So we're trying to balance out all these things in the budget. How to keep costs under control, how to make sure we have money there for public health, for social services, we're seeing more and more calls to 311 for all sorts of issues. So how do we make sure we have money for that? How do we make sure we deliver essential services, garbage, paramedics, roads, resurfacing, all those things you count on? But also, how do we put ourselves to still be a competitive city going forward? Because every city is working through these things and struggling on these things. We're still seeing tremendous growth in our city in residential, even in businesses and jobs. I know I'm going to another business opening this Friday in Stittsville. So I know there's a lot of people who are struggling, a lot of businesses who are struggling, and we need to put together a budget that supports supports them right now when there's the biggest hardship, but also puts us in a position to be a competitive city and a city that's still great to live in as we rebuild from COVID, which will come. And on that note, I want to remind you to keep wearing a mask, washing your hands, limiting your contact with people outside your household. Keep on doing all the right things. Ottawa's numbers are really encouraging, and it's really up to all of us to do our part, keep doing the small things to keep us on the right track. I'm really cold. It got all of a sudden much colder this week, didn't it? It started out nice, and now it's kind of snowing here on Stittsville Main Street. Have a walk down Main Street this weekend if you can. Check out the new benches, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a great week. Bye.